as we go through the M-check, our third main stopping point is this part of the bike near the pedals. So first I'm going to run through a few terms for the different parts. So we have the pedals on each side, which I'm spinning now, and the pedals are attached to these crank arms which rotate around. Then the crank arms are attached to an axle which spins through the frame, which allows, when we're pedaling, it's allowing that smooth movement. And we have a bearing inside there that allows that, and that is called the bottom bracket. We also, at this part of the, when we start to look at the gears, we have the chain set, which is the name for the crank arm and the cogs here, and we also have the derailleur, the front derailleur. So the derailleurs on the bike are what allows us to move the chain between different gears. So this is the front derailleur. So those being the main parts, and how do we check those? With the pedals, usually there's a little bit of movement in the pedals. If we grab the crank arm and try and move the pedal up and down, try and wobble it around, there's usually a little bit of movement. If there's a lot of wobbling there, then we'll need to look at replacing the pedal. Also, as well as checking both the pedals, we also want to check the crank arms and how they are attached to the bottom bracket and how the bottom bracket is working. And this is a bearing that we're checking in a similar way to other bearings that we visit on the M-check. So the way that we do this is that we grab one crank arm in the left hand and one in the right hand, and what we're trying to do is to see if it rotates side to side. So we're trying to see, does the pedal move inwards and outwards as we're doing this kind of rotation. So if I grab the crank arms, this is easier when the bike is on the ground. Is there movement? Does it wobble? In this case it doesn't. So in this case the pedals and the crank arms, the bottom bracket, they're okay. Then we move our attention to the gears. So at this part we're looking at the chain set, and we're looking at the derailleur here. Before we do that, I'm just going to rotate the crank arms forwards. So if we're pedaling forwards, just checking, does the chain move smoothly? Does it skip? Are there any problems just from pedaling forwards? And when we start pedaling forwards, the chain might move between gears, but once it's in the right gear, it should continue to rotate smoothly. The next thing to check is if the gears are adjusted well, we should also be able to pedal backwards without the chain coming off to a different gear. So the chain should be able to go backwards smoothly as well as forwards smoothly. And while we're at the front, we have the gear shifter on the left, which allows us to move between the gears at the front. And I'm going to also check, does this shifter allow us to go between all the different gears? So on the front we have 3 gears here, and this is showing me that it doesn't allow me to easily move between the 3 gears as I'm supposed to be able to. So some adjustment needed there. So that's the checks we're going to do at the moment for the bottom bracket, the third part of the M-check.